Sydney.
I mean, it's every actor's dream to work with Ron. I grew up loving your films, but being able to work with you, I have just learned what an amazing human being you are. And when Margaret came to me, I was absolutely amazed by, one, it's a true story, and two, it wasn't her choice. And she had to follow her husband's footsteps, and she had no idea what she was getting herself into. She was a child at that. And it was just such a crazy character journey for her and for all the other characters. And I absolutely wanted to dive into it. And with such an amazing cast, I mean, this is like a dream to be able to be a part of. But I'm just really lucky.
I also want to add one thing to what's being said. You asked earlier what attracted me, and I never want to answer this question in an interview because it gives too much away, but now you've seen the movie. No spoilers around, please. But, you know, I love that this intense, some of them brilliant, all motivated people, they came together with an agenda. And it is that question of, you know, who's going to survive and why. And as dark as the story is, as bizarre as the story is, I love that what we prove is that survival of the fittest is connected to love. It is connected to a belief in family. That's the people who draw strength from that in this story prevail. They are the survivors, and that thematically means something to me.
So even with all of these people, there is an uplifting message in there.
It's a family story.
Somewhere.
I mean, parenthood to Eden. I mean, don't you see it?
Double bill. Jude, a magnificent, outrageous performance of a magnificent, outrageous character. And I'm curious to ask the same question, but also your role, your character, probably required a little bit more audacity, perhaps, in terms of the performance and some of the things that your character does. But can you talk about what drew you?
Wow, I didn't know about that. I think we all had to be audacious.
Yes.
What were you going to say?
Well, what drew you to the role, and what did it take to actually do some of the things that we see your character do?
You mean walk around naked?
I mean, among other things.
Screens for paparazzi.
Well, I mean, to second what everyone said, the opportunity to work with Ron, we knew we were in safe hands, and it was this extraordinary script, these incredible characters, and there was something really enticing about being in an ensemble. They don't come along very often. And there's this lovely sense at the beginning where with the director and the writer where you all kind of look at each other and we're all going, are we going to do that? How far are we going to go? Are we going to push each other? And it's a lovely, fluid and it's a game of chance in a way and trust, for actors in that situation because we're all carrying our own element, our own thread. And so you're watching each other and reading how the others are attacking the tones and the different barometers, I suppose, the barometer of the piece. And obviously Rita, like I think everyone, had just so much to explore. And I loved, for me, the personal challenge was trying to find some kind of movement in his rigidity. He was a stubborn man and a kind of brilliant man who didn't want to be moved, didn't want to be bent, didn't want to give, and yet did somehow, perhaps more than most, in that he potentially took a life. That was really at the heart of what I loved, or was at the heart of the challenge. That and the nudity, and and having my teeth pulled out.
Yes. I think there might be some memes that come out of this film, so not encouraging it, but it's there. Noah, can I just ask you, this is a story that feels like it's fiction because it's so crazy in some ways, but this is a real story that happened. And I wonder, as you're writing the screenplay for this, it's a fictional version, but it's based on real events, how are you calibrating that element in terms of the fictionalizing something that happened?
Yeah, I mean, the surprising thing about this story is that more is true about it than you would ever believe. I mean,
it's really hard to believe.
It's really hard to believe, but we went there because it happened. We weren't actually going, you know, for the gore. We weren't going for the laughs. Like, that happened. And so we, you know, the challenge really was, how do we get there in an emotionally true way? And so, yeah, so my way into the script was really from an emotional perspective. Like, personally, I think we all sometimes question our existence and why we're here and what our purpose is. And I think what was so interesting to me is that there's these three groups who have three very different outlooks on why they're here on Earth. And that's just like juicy drama. And so that was kind of like my original way in. And then obviously when this amazing cast and, you know, talking to Ron over literally 5 years, it evolved into, creating, really interesting and complex characters. But at the end of the day, like Ron and I talked about this a lot, like we kind of root for everyone in this movie, even though they're doing insane things. Like they're coming from a place of emotional truth or damage, but we connect to them at least.
Certainly empathy for everybody. I mean, I think I hope you can understand, what is driving everybody. And by the way, I mean, look, go online. The real Hancock of Hancock Park shot a lot of footage, and you can find it online, and it's fascinating. And if you delve into the story, this could have even been crazier than the way we presented it. There are other twists and turns there where we didn't go down those avenues that were also rumored or reported. And so it was a fascinating journey to sort of get at this, the surmise, the sort of the narrative we were going to present, and again, just endlessly fascinating, and frankly, a lot of fun.
Listen, thank you so much for bringing this film for its world premiere to Toronto, and I'm so thrilled to have you all here to present it. And congratulations on continuing to really just push yourself as a storyteller as well. Really loved it. Noah Pink, Daniel Bruhl, Ana de Armas, Sydney Sweeney, Jude Law, and director Ron Howard. Thanks so much for coming tonight.
Thanks for all your support. Thank you.